Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker. So, as many of you know, Trump recently has decided that he is going to put an end to big businesses buying single family homes. He says that they are the reason why homes have increased in value at such an alarming rate over the past few years. So he's going to basically put an end to this. I'm just going to give you my thoughts. I actually agree with Trump. Scary, it is for me. It is very scary. Um, However, what he's saying is true. What he's saying is very true, especially those of you who do tax lien certificates and tax deeds. You know that when you go to those auctions, well, some of you haven't even been to those auctions in a number of years because these big corporate companies have actually gone and bid it. And you're always outbidded because they have more money than you. Typically, large corporations are going to have more money to bid on the property. And then what they do is they overbid on the property. You see, when you do any type of investing, right? You have to look at how much do other properties in that neighborhood cost. And sometimes these corporations will bid way above what the property actually is, which, especially if there's more than one home in that neighborhood, it drives up the cost and the value of the other homes in the neighborhood. You see, and that's one of the reasons why housing is so expensive in so many different areas. And it's become unaffordable because in the Georgia market that I'm in, yes, New York is expensive, but in the Georgia market I'm in, many people can't afford to handle the rent alone by themselves. So that's why a lot of landlords or people who were, looking to become landlords are now adopting the co-living model, where instead of renting out the whole house, they rent out rooms in the house. Now, you do have pad split that's been around since 2020, right? Um, But pad split, even though that is a co-living model, that model is really more for homes that have like 5 bedrooms. Okay. But everybody's house doesn't have 5 bedrooms, so they can't list it on pad split. So they'll list it on roomies, or uh, even some of them sometimes will even list it on Airbnb, transplant housing, uh, and then there's the other one, Furnish Finder. And they'll rent it by the room instead of renting the whole house. And a lot of times what's furnished is just the common areas, meaning the living room, the dining area, the kitchen, and the bathroom. Those will be furnished. However, the bedrooms will be empty. They have to furnish their own bedroom. You understand? So, guys, this is what's happening. Uh, this is the latest model that's going on. Yeah, surprisingly, I know. Please don't shoot me. Don't throw no apples at me. But yeah, I do agree with President Trump when he mentions this. He also, from my understanding, wants to put a cap on credit cards. So a lot of times, credit cards may charge 25%. He wants to put a cap at 10%. That's actually, in my eyes, that's a pretty good thing also. That's a pretty good, decent thing because, with today's economy, Many of us who are not making $1 million a year, we need to be able to save. And then the cost of food and everything has gone up. That is kind of, to a certain degree, that part is actually his fault. um, and the fact that many people are unemployed, that part is also his fault. So, in some ways, it's like, okay, you did dirty and you did what you did, but at least he's sort of like throwing us a bone when it comes to certain things. And I'll give credit where credit is due, uh, and I'll give him credit for what he's done. I'd like to know in the comments, how do you guys feel about this whole situation moving forward? Now, I will say this though, I don't think it's going to lower the price of homes. I think homes are going to stay at the price that they are right now. They may go up a little bit, but they're not going to go up that much. Uh, not at the same rate as when corporate America entered into buying single family homes. No. They'll go up, but they're not going to go up by that much because of this new law that he's enacting. Okay? So that's my thoughts on it. Anyway, I'd like to hear your opinion. Drop it down in those comments section. Share this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.